Hey, what's going on guys? Alex here, and thank you for checking this video. And this is the first of a series of tutorial about WordPress, and this series is WordPress 101 for beginner developers. So before starting, just a little announcement. That is not an actual announcement, but anyway, if you're already skilled with WordPress, you already know what to do, how to build a theme, a template, this is not the video for you. This is totally a beginner level video. I'm gonna explain how a WordPress template is built, how you can start from scratch, and it's gonna be really detailed and probably really boring. If you don't want to check this video, of course, YouTube is full of way better tutorial than this one. My tutorial is just for really absolutely beginners. But stop talking and let's get started. This is my basic WordPress installations. You can see it's on my local machine. I install Apache, MySQL, I install WordPress, and it's a standard WordPress running. I did nothing about it. It's totally the standard administration panel. In the appearance, we can see we have our three default standard themes. There are the 2015, 14, and 13. And outside is pretty empty. By default, it's selected the 2015. That is the last theme developed by the WordPress developers. So going back here, we can open our editor. I'm currently using Coda, but you can use whatever editor you need. You can also code in the text editor if you feel confident. So let's start. By default, this is your WordPress folder. This is the standard default WordPress folder. And when I started using WordPress, the first time I accessed the WordPress folder, I had a little bit of a hard time because I couldn't figure it out. All these files, well, where is my theme? Where is my template? How can I edit the font? How can I edit the color? How can I create my own template? And what are those files? It's messy and it's confusing at the beginning. So let's start by saying, don't care about this. Just ignore completely. This is the core. This WP includes and all these files outside the folders. You don't have to care about them. It's standard WordPress installation and you don't have to edit those files. The wp-config.php file is the one that connects WordPress to the database. WordPress configured these files for you during the standard installation, so you don't have to care for now about these files. Just completely ignore it. They don't exist, so it's fine. What we have to care about is the WP content folder. We can open the folder and we can see that by default WordPress creates for us the plugins folders and the themes folders. And this index.php, that usually it's completely empty. It's just open the PHP tag and then this amazing comment that silence is golden. But by default, these are the two folders that we have to care about and where we are gonna do the majority of our code. So let's start by opening one of this theme. For example, the 2015, that is the most recent template developed by WordPress. And I double click on the folder so we can just check the structure. And it's, as you can see, it's kind of huge, it's massive. My first reaction when I saw these files was, oh my god, I'm never gonna be able to do this. There's too much file, too much logic, too many things to remember. How can I do it? Don't worry, it's totally easy. It's easy to remember. WordPress has a really solid logic, and you don't have to care about connecting interactive or interacting between these files, because if you follow the rules that WordPress creates, WordPress is gonna recognize all these files, is gonna create the theme for you, and everything's gonna work, no problem. So let's get started with our own template, with our own custom themes. Let's go back to WP content theme, and let's say I want to create a new team. I want to create a new team from scratch. So the first thing that I have to do is create a folder with the name of the team. So create a new folder, and we're gonna create like awesome team. So inside is empty. The first thing that I did when I started coding WordPress was opening a template that was a team that was already built, copy all these files and pass it into my team, and then change it slightly a little bit thing and using the default functionalities, just because I was really lazy and I wanted to use a pre-made code. But then going on, I understand that I have to start from scratch. I have to code everything from scratch by myself. I don't have to be lazy, because if I learn how a thing is made of, how it's built I can recreate it and I can code it by myself without any problem. So let's start by default. We created this folder, awesome team. If we go in our WordPress installation in appearance themes, we see that automatically WordPress by default recognize that something's going on inside the team folders, but he said, wait, this team is broken. The files are missing. There's something that is not properly working. So WordPress lists for us inside the team page our team, that is awesome team, recognize also the name, but it says also the style sheet file is missing. So if you want to use this team, you have to work a little bit more and not just create a single folder. So let's go back to our editor. We open our folder. The first thing that we have to do is create a style.css file. So style.css. This is, if you already know what a CSS file is, you know that is to style a page, is a cascading style sheet. So the first question that I used to have when I started coding WordPress themes was why I have to create a style sheet before creating a actual theme structure, like an HTML page or a PHP page. Why do I have to create a CSS style before everything else? Because WordPress use the style.css, and be careful to use this exact name to collect information and to print information of your team in your administration panel. So if we open the file, we have to start writing the description and the name of our team. So what's our team is made of? What is the name of our team? Was the other name, the description, the license, all a bunch of information that WordPress needs. So as you can see, I created a code comment tag to list all this information, and WordPress is really powerful, because if we write team name and we call it awesome team, and we call team URI, and we say that this theme is from my local, let's say that .com/awesome team, and the author, it's me, so it's Alicad, and a description, and this is an awesome team. With these standard and basic information, WordPress is going to be able to recognize the team and give it some preview. Let's see what's going on in our administration panel. Let's reload the page, and let's see that it doesn't require anymore the style, but the template is missing. So something is missing because he cannot visualize the team inside. Our team is still broken. So let's start creating the basic structure, what WordPress needs. Let's start with new file, index.php. The index file is the basics file, is the file that WordPress accesses by default as soon as a user hit your website. So let's use this. Inside the index.php file, you can print the loop of your post, you can visualize your pages, you can visualize your categories, your tag, pretty much everything. You can even avoid, if you wanna keep it super basic, to create other pages. You can put everything inside your PHP file. But because WordPress suggests a specific guideline to properly build a template and to make it as easy as possible to manage all the aspects of your template, let's follow the rules. So the first rule that we have to follow is to create a header PHP and a footer PHP, the top and the bottom of our WordPress theme. So new file, header.php. Let's open the file and let's start with some HTML boilerplate. Type HTML. Let's open the HTML tag. Let's open the head tag. Let's use a meta char set. UTF-8. Always use UTF-8. Let's use the title. Awesome team. Oops. Let's close the head and let's open the body. So this is our header. By default, we don't have to close the body, we don't have to close the HTML, because these two things are gonna be closed inside the next file that we're gonna open. And what's the next file? The next file is the footer.php. That is the file that closes our theme. So new file, footer.php. Let's open the footer and let's close the body. And let's close the HTML. Let's clean the indentation a little bit. And if we want here, we can use footer. And this is my footer. If you want. If you want to write something pretty. So this is our standard template. We start with the header. Inside the header, we open the HTML, we open the head, and we open the body. Inside the footer, we close the body and we close the HTML. And inside the index.php, we could write something. For example, h1. This is my index. This is our basic structure of our custom theme. So let's go in our theme section in the administration panel. Let's see what's going on. Oh, in the bottom, we don't have anymore the error message, because our theme now by default has all the default and the necessary files that WordPress uses to generate our amazing theme. So as you can see, by WordPress, by default, it creates this preview. We don't have a screenshot preview, but doesn't matter. We can add it later. And if we click on theme details, we're gonna see that the title, awesome theme, is the same title we entered before. The author is the author that I enter, and the description, this is awesome theme, is the description that I insert inside my code. So just check it. If we want to expand a little bit the information that we want to use inside the WordPress theme description, we can implement an author URI, and I'm gonna say that the URI is my website, and we can specify a version of the template 0.1 alpha because we are working in it. And if I want to be like kind and open my team to everyone, I can specify a license, and by default you can specify a general public license version 2, that is new version for open source. And remember, if you specify a specific license, if you choose a specific license, always insert also the license URI. And to complete our styled CSS file, we can insert also a tags list. The tags list is good if we want to deploy our template, our theme inside the WordPress theme repository. For example, let's say I want my awesome theme to be black by default and with white colors and be responsive to columns, and I want the option of featured images, custom menu, custom header. Let's say also that by default is one column, just to pump up our results. And we have post formats, and we can say that's it. This is our tag. We save the file. We're gonna check inside our theme, reload the page, open the theme details, voila, we have all our information, the name, the version. Now, because I specified the author URI, I can click on this URI and access my website that is loading super slow, but there it is finally. And we have the description and all the tags that we specified before, and this is amazing. This is super easy. If we click on live preview, of course, what we're gonna see, just what's inside the index. This is my index, the h1 tag that we created before in our index page. So now let's go to the live side or the front end, and we can see that after activating our WordPress, we see what's inside our index.php file. That is the first thing that, as I said, WordPress access when hit your website. Let's inspect the source code to check what's going on. And as you can see here, something's missing. It's missing the doc type HTML, is missing my meta charset information, is missing my title. What's going on? Why WordPress cannot grab this information? It's missing also my footer. Where is my footer? This is a super simple thing to do. By default, WordPress builds for you the entire theme using preset file name. To include this file's name, we have to use the WordPress tag. For example, if I want in my index.php include the header, I can simply open PHP tags and get header. Oops, maybe if I write it header. This code is a code by WordPress. WordPress recognized that I want to include my header inside the index.php, and because I don't specify any other information, by default WordPress is gonna look inside the theme folder that I created for a file called header.php. The same thing is gonna happen if I specify simply get footer. So let's reload our page, and as you can see, we have finally our doc type. We have inside the header the information UTF-8, our title, and we have also our footer where we include. So this is our default WordPress theme, and this is our just simple first step. As you can see, it's super easy. You can include all the files that you generate. You can edit and you can manage all the single separated file without recreating every time a file to contain all the information. And this can be our starter team. This can be our first step to understand how a WordPress team works and how we can keep going from this point to create our real awesome team. So thank you for listening. Thank you for following this super easy, as I said, is a super beginners class. And in the next lesson, we're gonna start actual creating and using WordPress functionalities to pull our to create a proper CSS file, to create a JavaScript file, and to start printing our post loops, our pages, and all the information that we insert in our WordPress administration panel. So thank you again for checking this tutorial. My name is Alex, and if you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. If you don't give a shit, anyway, thank you for listening. See you next time.